Hello there. It seems that the Old Testament shows how good God is and how bad we are, and the New Testament shows that God has finally persuaded us to be good. Or is there a bit of pagan in God? I don't know. But for me, it is good to be positive about things, especially about God, because there's so many things to complain about. But at the same time, let's be realistic. But this next passage certainly seems like God is a good guy. And as we'll see, or, a good God. Abraham journeyed by stages from there into the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur, living as an alien in Gerar. He said that Sarah his wife was his sister, and Abimelech king of Gerar sent and took her. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said, "You shall die because of this woman whom you have taken. She is a married woman." Now Abimelech, the whole thing, the whole story about Abraham, for me, begs the question, if Abraham had been honest with all these people, would he then become, through honesty and kindness, king of Canaan, as God had promised? And there wouldn't need to be an invasion of Canaan by Moses after they escaped from Pharaoh in Egypt, which is the famous escape. But I'm sure God knew that we were going to be like this. Okay, thank you. But God came to Abimelech in a dream one night and said, "You shall die because of this woman whom you have taken. She is a married woman." Now Abimelech had not gone near her, and he said, "Lord, wilt thou destroy an innocent people?" It's amazing that King Abimelech talks or hears God directly. So this must be because it's in early times when people were more innocent. That's the description we're getting, or that's what description Jesus shared with us when he said that these times people were punished even for lesser crimes than they were in Jesus' time. So God became more forgiving later on. So, would you destroy an innocent people? Did he not tell me himself that she was his sister, and she herself said that he was her brother? So the other point is that it's annoying that he's done it again. He said the same problem again, Abraham, and he'll admit why earlier. It's simply something he was told at home to do, or he decided it himself at home when he was afraid, and he stuck with his idea at the beginning. But yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say now. Sorry. It was clear with a it was with a clear conscience and in all innocence that I did this. Oh yeah, that there. So it's not just Abraham who's the chosen people; it's these other people are the chosen people as well. But somehow it's Abraham's faith that we're looking to that's greater than Abimelech's. Even though Abimelech is such an innocent guy, he's still able to hear God. So yeah, it's just an amazing thing that other people can hear God than the people whom God chose as the nation that Jesus would be born into. So Jesus is not born into only one nation, but other nations as well. But in Jesus' actual behaviour towards other nations as well as his own, he prefers people in the nation he was born into. So he's slightly even though he's a nice guy, he's prejudiced towards his own people, but he helps people in other nations and backgrounds, and he says that they often act better than people in his own uh, national identity because they are not so concerned, and because they don't have so many hang-ups, so many annoyances about people that they don't know as well. So they're more willing to be nice. Uh, And yes, the whole point is to be nice, but it is not easy to be nice when you are a leader and you get pressurized into doing decisions that you're not good enough to do. You don't know what to do. You're not experienced enough, and people pressurize you. It's the pressure that makes you be bad, even though you're saying you're a nice person. This is my experience as a grounds maintenance team worker. So it's tough work, so I've got a bit of experience with leadership. So here we go. So he's saying it was a clear conscience to God, Abimelech, who is not a Jew, or they're not Jews yet. They're just followers of Abraham, or it's just Abraham's family. Later it becomes not Jews, it becomes Israel and Israelites, and then really later on, hundreds of years later, maybe 1,000 years later, it separates between the Jews, called the people of Judah in the north, Jews short for the people of Judah, and Israelites actually dissolve into just not very important. And so that's why the Jews become the nation. But then the Christians and Jesus, get persecuted by their own Jewish identity people, and so they separate from their own identity, but into a new identity. They become so much better that the original, it's like a caterpillar being angry with the butterfly. The butterfly is just so different. It still embraces the caterpillar, but the caterpillar does not embrace the butterfly. It just hasn't got a clue, and so it can persecute the butterfly. And that's what happens in the New Testament. But more than that, they're just much better. They're freer to do good because of God's blessing in Jesus' example and miracle of coming back to life. So, moreover, it was I went too far. That's God speaking to Abimelech. So Abimelech says, "It was with a clear conscience and all innocence that I did this." God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know that you acted with a clear conscience. Moreover, it was I who held you back from committing a sin against me." So, we're not even completely in control of ourselves. Obviously not. There are lots of things that can steer us in our life decision making. Yeah. So, moreover, it was I who held you back from committing a sin against me. So really that is a strong word, but it's involved in the social part of the world. I don't think Abraham is a god. I think he's just a bit better than Abimelech. That is why I did not let you touch her. Send back the man's wife now. He is a prophet, and he will intercede. That's a posh word for pray for you. He will intercede on your behalf. And a posh word for pray for something. So intercede, to pray for something, and that means on your behalf, so for Abimelech. So he's saying Abraham will pray for Abimelech, and you shall live. But if you do not send her back, I tell you that you are doomed to die, you and all that is yours. So Abimelech rose early in the morning, summoned all his servants, and told them the whole story. The men were terrified. So Abimelech told he's a king and those near to him. Maybe a small king in those days, you can imagine a small group of people. Abimelech then summoned sort of the amount of people who would make up a village. Abimelech then summoned Abraham and said to him, "Why have you treated us like this? What harm have I done to you that you should bring this great sin on me and my kingdom? You have done a thing that ought not to be done." And he asked Abraham, "What was your purpose in doing this?" Abraham answered, "I said to myself, there can be no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me for the sake of my wife. She is in fact my sister. She is my father's. She is her sister. She is his sister. She is my father's daughter, though not by the same mother. So she's his half sister. It's obviously strange for us now, because that changed about 1,000 years ago with the church, or maybe 500 years ago. So not that long ago, maybe compared to this, which is, so it was probably 500 years ago, and that changed in our societies, mostly, but not totally. And now it's being questioned again with the liberalisation, with giving freedom to everybody to try and help people. But for thousands of years before that, I suppose it was, well, here we go, we're reading about it now. Maybe it was allowed. They didn't know what was wrong, that it could harm you biologically. So Abimelech then summoned Abraham and said to him, "Why have you treated us like this? What harm have I done to you that you should bring this great sin on my kingdom? You have done a thing that ought not to be done." And he asked Abraham, "What was your purpose in doing this?" Abraham answered, "I said to myself, there can be no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me for the sake of my wife. She is in fact my sister. She is my father's daughter, though not by the same mother, and she became my wife. When God set me wandering from my father's house, I said to her, there is a duty towards me which you must loyally fulfill. Wherever we go, you must say that I am your brother." So he was afraid right from the start when he left his father's house, he says. Just notice there. Wandering, when God sent me wandering from my father's house, I said to her. So then Abimelech took sheep and cattle and male and female slaves, gave them to Abraham, and returned his wife Sarah to him. So they're two very good people, and they really did not fall foul of this. Thanks be to God. Abimelech said, "My country lies before you. Settle wherever you please." To Sarah he said, "I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver, so that your own people may turn a blind eye on it all, and you will be completely vindicated." That is, forgiven, freed from the problem. The problem will be forgotten about it. Vindicated. Then Abraham interceded with God, prayed for something with God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his slave girls, and they bore children, for the Lord had made every woman in Abimelech's household barren on account of Abraham's wife Sarah. So here we're seeing there's karma is involved in it's a Hindu term, but it's the same term in sin creates a problem. God makes things worse in your life if you sin. Commonly known through the Hindu religion as karma in society these days, and it does happen. But unknown ones to challenges happen as well, and unknown problems and pains and bad things happen to challenges as well, not because of sin. So you cannot judge. You never know why it's happened, unless you feel that God's told you, like here. But you should get at least 3 people from independent places to verify a question about God's talking to you, because you never know. In society is so free today. Everybody says all sorts of different opinions, and it's too much to decide on one opinion. It's not reliable anymore to decide on one opinion. There's too much going on in the world that's untrustworthy. Back here it was as well, but now there's far more people in far more different backgrounds, making it far more difficult to find out what is God saying, and if you're on your own, you'll just be called crazy, so you've got to ask people from different backgrounds. The Lord showed favour to Sarah as he had promised, and made good what he had said about her. She conceived and bore a son to Abraham for his old age at the time which God had promised. The son whom Sarah bore to him, Abraham, named Isaac. As we heard earlier, it means it means he laughed. When Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him as God had commanded. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. I don't know how Abraham felt. He must have felt, happy and laughter like I feel now. But I think he would have felt cynical as well. So there'd have been a mixed feeling, of happiness and a bit of confusion. Hence, that's why he's circumcised, which is a horrible thing to do. It's horrible. Sarah said, God has given me a good reason to laugh. And God has given me good reason to laugh, and everybody who hears will laugh with me. She said, whoever would have told Abraham that Sarah would suckle children? Yet I have borne him a son for his old age. The boy, I don't know what that means, for his old age. Maybe it's to please. God wants to please Abraham. So sometimes God, like this light now, wants to please us and make us happy. To do a miracle. So it's a miracle child because of his old age and her old age. So not the child is a miracle, but their pregnancy and birth. Pregnancy and giving birth to a healthy child is a miracle. So God's made them into a miracle, and the boy becomes a miracle for them. The boy grew up because of the feelings and emotions involved with it. That's why abortion is wrong. There's feelings and emotions involved with it. It's a real person. The boy grew and was weaned, and on the day of his weaning, Abraham gave a feast. Weaning means when the baby is old enough that it doesn't need to only drink milk but eat food. That's weaning. Sarah, it's to encourage the child onto food from suckling milk from his mother's breast. Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham laughing at him, and she said to Abraham, drive out this slave girl and her son. I will have... so they hadn't run away already, they were still there. Right, I don't know, didn't know. She changed her mind and stayed. I will not have this slave girl's son sharing the inheritance with my son Isaac. Abraham was vexed, that's angry, was vexed at this on his son's Ishmael's account. So he felt he wanted to stand up for Ishmael. But God said to him, do not be vexed on account of the boy and the slave girl. Do what Sarah says, because you shall have descendants through Isaac. I will make a great nation of the slave girl's son too, because he is your own child. So really, somehow God is prejudiced towards Abraham, which is, for me, certainly a strange thing. And being, as we all feel, one world should operate together and respect, but also honour each other's differences. Honour means treat as a good thing in respect. Respect just means know about other differences, but honour means to know and love and cherish and encourage and learn. It means in a good way respect other people. So to honour. Abraham rose early in the morning, took some food and a water skin full of water and gave it to Hagar. It's just like a bottle in those old days. He set the child on her shoulder and sent her away. And she went and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. So we'll see what happens to her next. So I've read up to verse 14. Thank you, and see you later.